Hi everyone, we'll be there in just a moment. We are having a slight technical difficulty with the YouTube video. Those of you watching us on YouTube, we're having a slight issue and we should have it resolved in just a moment, hopefully. Hello, all our YouTube folks. It looks like we're having a problem embedding our video into another page. Just so you know, we are working on it and we will be getting started momentarily. Started momentarily. So Dr. Pillai, it looks like we can get started. Well,
Yeah.
Here we are. Great. Let me just stop this sharing so we can see you. Wonderful. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this webinar. We are so delighted to be here with Dr. Pillai. He's joining us from Tiruvannamalai in India, and he wasn't supposed to be on this webinar, so we are very excited that we'll have the opportunity to connect with him and hear more about his upcoming unprecedented India trip that is happening during the 9 Nights of the Goddess, starting on October 3rd. Dr. Pillai, thank you for joining us. And we really want to understand more about what it is you'll be teaching in this new India trip about channeling. People want to understand what channeling is and how it will help them and what benefits they will receive.
Okay. Channeling is a word that can be easily misunderstood. But it is a spiritual experience. It simply means the descent of the divine into a person. And that's what channeling is. You become a channel to the divine. And what is the benefit of it? Then you are not yourself. You are not using your ignorance. You're using the mind of God. So when you practice channeling, pretending that, even if it is a pretension, sometimes it is, and sometimes it is not. And it is something that can happen to anyone. And once that happens, once you fake that you are God or the goddess, then you will be able to experience an altered state of consciousness. But there are timings when your channeling will be more powerful, more easier. And during that time, you will be able to get out of yourself and then become a channel to the goddess. The reason why I wanted people to come and experience this is because they will be benefited by the wisdom of the goddess. The goddess's descent into you is a very profound experience. There will be exotic drums that will accompany the channeling process. So I did experiment that in a very introductory manner during the Guru Purnima time. People asked them to dance and listen to this music. So it is a tradition in India, a very, very old tradition. And who uses this tradition? Especially the poor people. The poor people think that, really do not have any idea of what's going on. But they are asking the goddess to come and then help them. And it is a profound thing that happens. I personally visit just for my own research and understanding once a week at least to a channel of Angali. And whenever this guy channels, there's tremendous amount of love and compassion. And that's what motivated me to plan on this trip to India during this sacred time of the goddess. I'm profoundly sad to see so much suffering in this world. And sometimes it is heart sorrow. And you need divine intervention. Otherwise, no matter what you do, you are unable to deal with your situation. In most cases, it is a lack of money, or lack of relationship, or lack of health. These are the main areas that give a lot of suffering. And the goddess Angali is a very compassionate being. And somebody said, when I went to the channeling session, this woman who was before me said, my daughter has borrowed like $110 from somebody, and then she's paying the interest on the $120. And she has already paid $120. And when can we end? When can she get the $120 so that she can be free of it? So you can see the kind of people who go there. But the goddess would say, well, I thought I was standing by. I can give you the $120. But that's not possible. I cannot give it to everyone. So you have to do it yourself. So the goddess trip is one where you will acquire divine consciousness. And through divine consciousness, you can put an end to problems that otherwise you can't find a solution to by yourself. And especially this goddess is the goddess who is in charge of siddhi powers. Siddhi powers are just ability to do miracles. And the last thing that Jesus said during his lifetime is, I just want every one of you to do miracles. And you are capable of it. It is a miracle, is a state of consciousness. In order to experience miracle, the one step is to learn channeling. And through the channeling, you can get these siddhi powers or miraculous consciousness. We have been given the ability, every one of us, but then we have stayed away from this as something like cultic, something that
The sound cut out. Dr. Pillai. We can't hear you any longer. I'm not able to hear any longer. Let's see if other people are having trouble. So, Babaji? Babaji? We can't hear you. The sound is cut. Mahamaya? We can't hear you. There's no sound. Oh. Now it looks like there's no video. Looks like we're having some technical issues. Maya, are you there? I don't know if you can hear me, Baba, but we can't hear you. Oh, okay. Let's try that. Yes, now we can hear you.
Okay.
Your sound cut out completely for a couple minutes.
Okay.
You were.
So what I was telling you is this is a great occasion for you to come, if you can, to India, because the 9 nights of the goddess is the time for the goddess to communicate with you, and then she is available during these 9 days. And many, many years ago, when I did a program, the goddess' energy was very, very strong, and then thunder and lightning came out of the blue, and so it is a rare occasion, because I don't know why I even conceived of this idea of inviting you guys. But anyway, it is, as I said, it is her invitation. We'll be visiting the power spots, and I will see if there are people signing up. Then I would commit to spending more time. See, I'm planning to go to the US now, but then I have to come back to, that's another thing that to be considered. In any case, and the people who are running this program will give you more information.
Yes, Baba, we'll give them all the details. Can you tell us a little bit about the temples?
Well, the temple, or the one temple that I talked about, is for the poor people mostly. It's the fisherman community keeps the temple. That is a very, very powerful temple. That is where the people get channel the goddess. And I don't know if it will be there on all the 9 days, but we will be able to see videos of them with the drums and so forth. That's one. Then the other temple is a temple where you just, for usually middle class and upper middle class people, and they going around and round and round the temple is very beneficial. I have seen so many people whom I have sent solving their problems through the grace of the goddess. So it is an occasion for you to experience the divine, and just pray to her for her help, whether you are able to join or not. You will be able to learn more about the goddess down the road, because I am more deeply involved with Angali. Okay, you can take over now. And hello?
Okay, yes, Babaji. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, everyone. So thank you for joining. I will go through some of the details of the trip for you. We heard from Dr. Pillai the power and purpose of channeling, and now a little bit about the logistics. So there's many more there's many more temples on the itinerary than what was mentioned. He mentioned the two at the very top of the page. If you notice, those are the Angali temple. And then if you continue to look at the page, we have some temples in Arunachala, Tiruvannamalai. There's the Brazil Center Temple, which is the enormous 6 or 7 foot Angali that has been created, as well as the 6 foot Brazil that is there, all being energized regularly. We're going to the Meenakshi Temple, which is very famous. However, Westerners are not allowed inside of the main sanctum. We are allowed in the halls, though, which is still extremely powerful. And Dr. Pillai wanted us to go there. While we're in that city, there's a very powerful Karupasamy temple. Several people are able to channel Karupasamy. He's another one of the type of beings who will be, Dr. Pillai will be addressing and empowering you into the teachings of during this trip. There's this beautiful temple, the Temple of 1,000 Suns, which is, we're going to be having a very beautiful ceremony there. It's very small, very powerful place, and to be in that presence is it's a real honor. Dr. Pillai goes there quite a bit. And in fact, he has personally installed the Lakshmi there, the Sundara Mahalakshmi, the beautiful Lakshmi with 6 toes. And then we'll be going to the Kumbheshwara temple, which is a couple trips ago, Dr. Pillai had us go there and said that she will embed the mantra into us so that it becomes more and more powerful. So he had us walk around her and then do a special technique and then have the mantra be more enlivened. So that's a little bit about these temples. For the first 2, he was talking, the Angalis, he was talking about the one where you walk around and around. There's actually this little egg in the back. It's not an egg, it's a rock. And he says that that's where the siddhi powers are contained. And you walk by and you touch that and you pray, and you continue walking. And we've done that many times, 108 times or so. And that's what we would be doing on this trip, most likely. Dr. Pillai also mentioned a goddess trip that he did several years ago. I was actually on that trip and it was incredible. So he doesn't often do goddess trips. As you notice, we are usually doing the trip on his birthday for India, but the goddess trips are different because they are not always, he just doesn't always feel inspired to do it. So we're really blessed that this opportunity has come upon us, come upon Dr. Pillai. That trip maybe that was like 10 years ago, it was quite some time ago, where he did a goddess trip, and we were doing puja, offering flowers to a Meru, which is the Sri Chakra in 3-dimensional form. Very powerful. It was at night. And so whenever he would call upon the goddess and we would do particular offerings, there would be crashing lightning and thunder. And it wasn't just once where it was like, oh, that was, a coincidence. It was very regular. He would call upon her and she would immediately react. So it was just proof of how his connection with the goddess is so visceral. It is so pure that she will come when he calls upon her. So this is the beautiful opportunity that is presented to us on this occasion. He's actually been talking about doing this trip for several months. And I've asked him several times, make sure, he still wants to do it, and he did. So the goddess must be continually reinforcing that this trip should happen. However, the second part for this trip to happen is your action to make sure that we have enough people on the trip to be able to confirm it. So right now we're asking that if you are interested in the trip, let us know or register by September 10th so that we can make sure all of the arrangements are confirmed. Right now they're not, which means don't purchase your flight if you are planning to attend. Please let us contact us, send us an email. If you are not able to register before the 10th, then we'll at least have you on the list that you'll be attending. And then by this September 10th is when the early bird ends, and that is a $400 savings. So we'll need to hear from you by then, because we will confirm the trip by that date. I'm confident that we'll have enough people signing up, but we want to make sure. So please do your part. If you're planning on attending, either email us and say, I'm definitely going to be attending and I'll be registering on X date, or whatever inquiry you have or questions you may have about the attendance that we can help you with. That would be something we'd love to hear from you about. So Dr. Pillai mentioned on Guru Purnima that he had a mini session on channeling the goddess. So if you were part of that, you know kind of where that was going. And this is really the next stage to that. If you didn't attend the Guru Purnima, that's okay, because everything will be covered on this trip. It is mentioned, and I will be getting to question and answer, so please post your questions in the chat, but I want to cover as much as I think you may have questions for up front. So his attendance on the trip is different than in other trips. So oftentimes he'll come, he'll spend a set number of days with us, and then that trip will be over and we all disperse. So this trip is slightly different because he will be coming on certain days in certain locations to be giving the teachings and empowerment needed for this channeling engagement, for this experience. So we won't have him every single location, but we will have him in Chennai when the trip gets kicked off. He'll and that's where the first Angali temple is located nearby, the Royapuram. And then he'll also be attending the, I'm just gonna say the second Angali temple because I don't know how to pronounce it. He'll be attending us, he'll be with us there. He will be giving the teaching session in the beginning of the trip, giving us instructions on what to do and how to follow through the rest of the trip, what meditations to do. And then we will be having Mohini do the other teachings on the additional days of the trip. She's highly experienced with the goddess. We may be hearing more from her next week about her experiences as well as this trip. So you'll be in a container of enlightenment, right? Like you'll be in this container of power and protection and teachings of Dr. Pillai through the entire thing, whether he's physically with us or not. And he will be physically with us on certain days during the trip. There are 2 levels to the trip. One is that you receive his teachings in his presence on, I think it's up to 2 days of the trip. And then there's another where he will be having some special sessions with the people in the second tier of the participation of the trip. Now, you can participate in either one of those. Let me just tell you though, from personal experience, even though he's not physically located on a trip, he is there. The first India trip I ever went to, he wasn't there at all. In fact, he was in the United States and he just sent us on the trip, told us to chant a mantra. And for those 7 days, it was his presence 100%. There was really the feeling and the energy and the transformation that occurred is still one of my most favorite trips, still one of my most powerful trips. So the fact that he is going to be on the trip, just not physically present with us all the time, please do not worry. He is always going to be tuned into us. He's going to be helping direct the energy, and he'll be there in that and creating that container. So let me take some questions now, just a recap of the deadlines. September 10th is the deadline for your early bird. You'll want to do that. You're going to save $400 if you are able to pay by then. And if you're interested in the trip, but you cannot make the payment by September 10th, please email us and let us know so that we have you on a list. Again, we are going to be making a decision on September 10th based on the number of people who have registered or have told us and committed to their participation in this journey. And at that time, we will confirm that the trip is happening and that you should be booking your flights. All right, let's see. Are there any questions? Please post them in the chat. I am able to see both chats on YouTube as well as the viewing page. There's people asking where exactly the temples are. I'm not a good person to ask about that. You can, we put the official names of some of them. You can look them up and find out the locations, and you could do that. All right, any other questions? I don't see any other questions. Please post. You can also post on the YouTube video if you're there. There's chat as well. Someone's asking, how do we attend from India? Same way anyone around the world would attend. You register online, and you will receive, once you register, you'll receive the itinerary and everything you need to know to proceed to come on the trip. And so if you're an Indian, for example, we'd send you different instructions where you would not need to, where you would join us. We start the trip in Chennai, and then everyone moves together through the entire journey. Okay, so there's some questions on how to join. So on the viewing page, there's a link that says Join Dr. Pillai, and if you go there, you will see the page that gives all the details and how to join. If you're not on that page, simply go to pillaicenter.com, and there is a banner that shows information about the trip. Click on that, and you'll get to that same page. Someone's asking about getting shots to go to India. I have to be honest, I haven't gotten shots to go to India in a very long time, except for like a tetanus shot. And there is time, there's plenty of time. It's like, what, it starts October 1st, so we have 1 month. There's plenty of time to do all of that. You would have to check in terms of visa or things of that nature, check your country and the rules for entering India. Okay, so there's questions about flights and hotels. Here's the thing. We cover everything for you when you register, except for your flight or transportation to get to Chennai, where the trip begins on October 1st. Once you land, we pick you up from the airport. We transfer you to the hotel. We pay for all your hotels. We pay for the tips at the hotels for like baggage to and from the buses. We pay for the transportation from everything within India, from the time you arrive to the time you depart, is covered for the hotel, the transportation, and your food, 3 meals a day. The only thing we do not cover is incidentals, like maybe you need a snack at midnight and you order that that's on you. Or if you're buying gifts for your friends, that's on you. But everything that you need to participate in this trip, your transportation, your housing, and your food is all taken care of. And we have guides who are there with you the entire time. We literally cover all of your needs. And the reason that is because we don't want you thinking about anything else. We don't want you worrying about where your baggage is or how you're gonna get to the next place, or did you book a hotel? We're covering that so that all you have to do is be immersed in this trip, be engaged in your spiritual activities so that you get the most out of it. You are investing in your ability to engage and be in this trip, this once in a lifetime journey. That is what you're doing. So we're taking care of everything else that has to do with your physical body and your well-being so that you don't have to. So those of you who haven't been on a trip before, please know it is very comprehensive. Questions? And then flights from the US are actually pretty good price right now. I literally saw one for like $850 not long ago. So check out your situation. If you need a little bit of extra movement in terms of making a deposit and then paying it, just email us and let us know what you need. We can be as flexible as we possibly can. We need to make sure that trip costs and a certain amount is covered before the trip begins, or I should say initially, so that we know who's attending. And then if you can make the remainder of the payment before the trip starts, we can be flexible. Just email us and let us know if you have certain needs. All right, let me see. Any other questions? Yes, so another question about boarding and lodging. Yes, everything is covered for the full 7 days, except for your transportation to Chennai and your transportation out of Chennai. Once you get there, everything's covered. We drop you back off wherever you need to go. Typically it's the airport. Yes, and you can email office@palaicenter.com if you have questions about payments. So it is coming up quickly. So we do encourage everyone to see if this is something you can do, and let us know if it is. And I'm personally pretty excited because, like I said, Dr. Pillai doesn't always do a goddess trip, and it's always unique when he does some sort of engagement for 9 nights of the goddess, because the goddesses and him are so tight. And so it's always a powerful experience, whether it's here in the United States, in India, wherever he may do programs or online. Some people are asking if there will be sessions online. There will be some sessions online. There definitely will not be the experience. We are not, we'll be traveling quite a bit, so we cannot commit to which sessions in certain locations will be confirmed for an online viewing. We will be announcing that soon, which ones, but right now it's an in-person trip, and we should be able to have a few hours live streamed, but that's probably as good as we're going to be able to get on this one. Any other questions? Yeah, so folks are asking about volunteering or options like that. We don't do volunteering in exchange for a trip, but you're welcome to help out. And like I said, if there's proposals for how you may want to make a payment plan, please let us know. We know that it came up quickly, and that there may need to be some accommodations. We're happy to see what we can do. Someone's asking for the places of the trip. So that page, if you go to palaicenter.com and click on the banner there, there's it's called the Royapuram Angali Temple, the Malaman, I can't say it, the other Angali Temple. We'll be going to some temples in Arunachala. There's a beautiful hotel there. We'll be staying and doing some teaching sessions with Dr. Pillai in Tiruvannamalai. There's the Brizzy and Angali temple in Chennai that Dr. Pillai created. There's the Meenakshi temple. And again, just to let you know, the Westerners are not allowed all the way in, so we won't, those of us who aren't able to, will be in the halls surrounding it, but still the power of the temple is vibrating through all of that location. a Karpasamy temple in Madurai, the what's called Temple of a Thousand Suns that Dr. Pillai installed a very special Sundar Mahalakshmi, and then the Kumbeshwara temple, where we'll be meeting the goddess who will help empower and multiply our ability to hold a mantra. And then, of course, the initiations with Dr. Pillai into the ability to channel and into the divine being, specifically Goddess Angali. That's who he's very specifically talking about. This question, what are the chances of one being able to successfully channel the goddess during the and after the trip? That's a good question. So there are, of course, no guarantees. Everyone's different, and it really depends upon your own personal connection with the goddess, your prayers, your desire, and the environment. I really feel that the environment has a lot to do with it. And as Dr. Pillai was saying, there are certain locations and times that really help enable this. So when we were having those sessions in Guru Purnima, for example, the music and Dr. Pillai being there, really empowering the situation, was helping to bring people into a state where the goddess could more easily get into the body. And several people in that room in a hotel in San Diego were able to have experiences of her. So just imagine locating in one of her temples during 9 nights of the goddess, and that environment, the music, all of that happening and kind of generating that energy where she's more able to get in, then I think the chances are much higher. And especially it was so encouraging to see so many people have an experience during Guru Purnima. Now we're having the benefit of being in India at a temple or different temple locations during the most powerful time of the year for the goddess and in Dr. Pillai's presence. So also speaking for myself, the only experiences that I've ever had of having that type of being experience was in a presence where it was a very supportive environment, right? So can't answer you exactly how, what are the chances, but those are the factors that go into how high your chances may be. And it also has to do with how committed you are to it and how your sincere prayers to the being who you want to have come into your body. Another question is, how much time would we spend with Baba? So there's 1 to 2 days. There's 1.5 to 2 days for the one trip, and that is going to there's 2 levels of the trip. One is the basic, where you're going to be spending about 2 days with him. And then the second level of the trip is where you're going to be spending about 3 to 4 days with him. And so in terms of the exact location and time, we're going to find that out really when we get there. But for sure, everyone will be with him in Chennai and the first Angali temple. Then we'll be going off to Madurai, and he will most likely not be there. But Mohini will be there guiding the sessions, and he'll have given us the teaching to continue to practice as we go to those other temples. Then when we meet back with him in Tiruvannamalai, we'll be seeing him again. So that's how the plan is. And he may be inspired to spend more time, like he just said, actually. He may be inspired to spend more time depending on, factors, but we're not committing to his time more than about 4 days total of the 7 days trip. And that is like 1 to 2 days or 3 to 4, depending on where he is and his inspiration to join us. But again, it's really not about his physical presence, even though that is going to make a huge difference. Because being in his presence, even the one time with the initiation and kind of getting that propelled and then having us go off onto the trip, that is a lot. Like that's more than I had for my first India trip, and I had immense transformation and experiences during it. So I feel confident that he's going to give us everything we need during that time, and the empowerment, the initiations. He'll be at the temple and then have us go off, and then again the concluding time of the trip would be in Tiruvannamalai, and that's for the folks who are getting the extra sessions. I hope that answered the question. I know it's different. It's a very different trip, and it was really dictated by Angali and Dr. Pillai. So we're along for the ride and doing what we can to give you all the information that they have asked to be presented. So I hope it's coming across clearly. And of course, if you have any other questions, please let us know. Write to office@pillaycenter.com and let us know if you have any inquiries. Also, let us know if you are planning on attending, and so that we can also get our numbers. The sooner we hit the number we need to confirm, then we'll make the announcement that it's on. So we'd really love to do that before September 10th. I'd love to do that within a few days. This way folks can be booking their flights and moving forward and getting the best deals, right? So please, if you know you're coming and you're not paying yet, even if you're not paying until September 10th, just email us and say, I'm totally there. Put me on the list for the confirmation. Someone's asking about going to churches versus temples. They are all temples. Any other questions? There's a question. The banner talks about channeling Mother Mary and Holy Spirit. When and where would that happen? That would most likely be, well, we'll have to find out what Dr. Pillai and those beings have in store. But Dr. Pillai has talked about and taught the ability to speak in tongues, kind of channel the Holy Spirit. The Mother Mary is fairly new. And as far as where that's going to happen, we're not quite sure. I think what will happen is he'll teach the concepts of channeling and give us an initiation and empowerment to be able to do so. And then we really are able to pick the being that we want to come through us. Now, some beings are more apt to do that and some aren't. So he has identified several that are more apt to be able to come through us, particularly at this time, this particular time. And those are Angali, Karpasamy, Holy Spirit, Mother Mary. So it would really be not that we'd just be able to call on whichever ones we want necessarily, or maybe that could happen to you. I see it more as our own ability to connect, because you have to connect deeply with this being. You have to have a love relationship with them so that you are really calling them in. So that's going to be part of it as well. There's a question, if I got a visa in January, would I get another one for October? You have to check the visas in your country and see how long they are. Typically, they're 3 to 6 months, and then after that, they go up in increments of years. So you have to check. You have to check the expiration of your visa. But if you're planning on going now and in January, usually 6-month visas are what is offered, and that would cover you. Because Dr. Pillai is planning a birthday trip in end of January. It's going to be different than this one, though, different locations, and I don't know that he definitely won't be doing the same in terms of the goddess, and the power time will be different. Any other questions? Looks like that's it. There's a question, can a Christian practice Shrim Brzi? I love this question. Thank you for saying that. Yes, there's no necessarily religious affiliation to Shrim Brzi. Shrim Brzi is you're connecting with a divine being who wants to bless you with prosperity. So whether it's Shrim Brzi or an angel of abundance, you don't have to think of it in terms of it being Hindu or not Hindu. It is, non-denominational. So yeah, if you connect with any being, you don't have to be part or not part of a particular religion. There's questions about being in the trip for a portion of the trip, that's typically something we don't do because the coordination gets very complicated. So imagine there's 30 people on a trip and 10 of them want to join different times. We can't accommodate that. So you're pretty much all in or not. If you have, like I said, but if you have some special requests, email us and we'll always see what we can do. Like if it's a slight variation to the trip and we can accommodate you, we're happy to do it. We just can't make outward promises that that's an option, because if a lot of people do it, it's definitely something we cannot accommodate. But we'd love to see as many people on the trip for as much as you can possibly be on the trip. So email us. Okay, I think that's everything. Just one last call. Last call for questions, both on YouTube and the viewing page. And so the folks on YouTube, if you want to go to the page that gives you all the information about the trip, go to pilaicenter.com, click on the banner that says the India trip. Okay, fabulous. So we'll see you soon, and do email us if you have any questions. And if you're planning on attending, please let us know as soon as possible, even if you cannot make your payment until September 10th or later. We definitely want to be getting our confirmation list so that we can then confirm the trip and let everyone know that it's 100% on and that you should be booking your flights. So look forward to hearing from all of you. And if you have any questions, let us know. Namaste. Thank you so much.